Thank you very much for the introduction. Welcome to my talk. I hope everybody had a good and refreshing lunch break, so you are strengthened for the crisis that just happened. As you can see, besides Munich has been hacked, and the hackers are want $250,000 US in ransom to not publish the data of besides Munich. But unfortunately, this is not real, but let's see how we got to this place where we are now. Let's do a quick overview over the malware history. Quick show of hands. Who of you remembers this one? Yes, of course. This was 2000, the year 2000, the I Love You worm. It was written by a Philippine computer science student, just a Visual Basic script in an attachment of an email, which once opened would send itself to everybody in your Outlook address book and thus spread around the world. This one was not created to make any money of it. This one was created out of pure curiosity. And curiosity was also what drove the security researchers during that time. They were very eager to hunt and find new pieces of malware to analyze. But this quickly turned around. The hunters became the prey, and the malware is ever increasing and getting more dangerous and more complex every day. Fast forward to the year 2017, to the most prominent ransomware sample here. This scary red box appeared on many screens, and it demanded $300 US of ransom. This is called the WannaCry ransomware. It was based on a zero-day exploit that was stolen from the NSA by the Shadow Brokers hacker group and published to the internet. Microsoft released a patch for the vulnerability, but not everybody reacted and applied the patch. It was 59 days between the patch and the outbreak of WannaCry, so nearly 2 months where everybody could have reacted. But nowadays, the attacks are getting even faster and quicker. The ransomware gangs are moving quicker and quicker every day. Fast forward to this year, the MOVEit case. I'm not going into any technical details here. I just want to show you how fast the ransomware gangs are acting now. On the last of May, a patch was released by the vendor to fix this vulnerability. But later, after forensics of affected systems, we found out that at least 4 days before, the ransomware gangs were already attacking and exploiting this vulnerability to steal data from the companies. But let's take a look now at who are these ransom gangs and how are they operating. They're highly capable organized crime gangs which have developed a ransomware as a service business model. Imagine it like your favorite cloud provider, where you just rent software as a service or infrastructure as a service and you pay per the minute or per the gigabyte. You can now rent ransomware as a service. And these gangs, they act like huge tech companies. They have leaders, they have developers, they have system administrators, they have negotiators, they have help desks, even HR departments. And you can rent all you need for a ransomware attack from them, and all they ask for is a share of your profits, usually around 20%. This is an example of the now inactive Conti group that shows this share splitting. It's even fully automated into their Bitcoin wallets. When the victim paid the 22 Bitcoin ransom, it was automatically split up in 2080, 20% for the ransomware gangs, 80% for the individual affiliate that did the hack. But who are these affiliates and how do they work together with the ransomware gangs? This is a recruitment post from Avos Locker. They're looking for partnerships for their locker. And look what they offer. They support Windows, Linux, ESXi. They assist you in negotiations. The builds are configurable, and they even provide you with storage for the data that you steal from the victims. I especially want to point out the last 2 points, DDoS attacks and calling services. Nowadays, in ransomware, we speak of a quadruple extortion scheme. So meaning the people now have 4 different levers to extort money from their victims. The first one is the one they started with, encryption. They encrypt your data, you don't have access anymore, you can't work anymore. That's why you have to pay. But nowadays people have learned to do their backups and can recover from this very quickly. That's when they started with the second extortion mechanism, exfiltration. They now steal your data and want to publish it on the dark net if you don't pay. Third lever they have to extort money from you is they will send you DDoS attacks, effectively hindering you on the successful rebuilding of your infrastructure. And the fourth one they now recently announced, but fortunately I haven't seen that in a real case. If you have seen it, come and see me, I want to hear the story. Is they call your customers and tell them, hey, company XYZ has lost your data, we hacked them. They call your competitors and offer to sell the data to them. This is pretty interesting. Let's look at some other examples. This picture was placed on the wallpapers of a victim's computers, saying, yeah, your data has been stolen and encrypted, but would you like to earn millions of dollars? Come work for us. All we need is just some credentials, or you just need to open an attachment to an email. Simple as that, and you can earn a lot of money. Then let's look at another example of the Lockbit group. They have like really extensive documentation on how to become an affiliate and how to act as an affiliate. They want you to deposit 1 Bitcoin in their wallet as a kind of advance payment for renting the ransomware services. They want to see your profiles on hacker forums. They want to see proof of previous work. And you want to show you the balance of your cryptocurrency. Lockbit also has a really high quality requirements for themselves. They want to improve. They want to be the best. How does that show? You're allowed to work for other gangs on the side, but they ask you to report it and they want to know what you like better from the other gangs so that they can implement it and get better in their ransomware offering. They even have rules for their affiliates. Maybe you've heard of them. You're not allowed to attack hospitals except for plastic surgery. You're not allowed to attack schools except for major universities. And I want to point out an interesting wording choice here. They're not talking about attacks. They're talking about surprise audits. So they don't see themselves as hackers. They're surprise auditors or surprise pen testers. Another fact, you're not allowed to attack critical infrastructure. Well, you are, but you're not allowed to encrypt critical infrastructure. You're more than welcome to steal data from critical infrastructure. And even if you're unsure if something is critical infrastructure, ask your help desk. They will help you decide if you're allowed to attack. Next thing is you're not allowed to attack post-Soviet countries because that's where most of the people that develop it and work with them come from. That's something you see at almost every gang. And they really mean it. They're really sincere about that. We can see that in one example, sickkids.ca. It's a children's hospital that was recently hacked by a Lockbit affiliate. We formally apologize for the attack on sickkids.ca and give back the decryptor for free. The partner who attacked the hospital violated our rules, is blocked, and is no longer part of the affiliate program. So they hold their rules up. And we've just seen 4 examples of ransomware gangs offering a ransomware as a service offering. But there's so many gangs that somebody even built up a magic quadrant with all the big names on there. Conti, Klopp, Doppelpaymer, Blackbuster, just to name a few. But let's see a real-life incident now. I've pieced a real-life incident together from beginning to the end. I took some examples from various real incidents, so please keep that in mind when the ransom varies or the designs vary. It always starts with the initial compromise, and I don't need to tell you how many vectors of initial compromise there are. Email attachment, USB sticks. Something is always happening. But the important thing here is this one happens weeks or even months before an encryption. Then they move around your network, discover different hosts, escalate their privileges to administrators. Something you could have noticed. Then they look for interesting data in your network and steal it and exfiltrate it to one of their servers. Something you should also notice. I mean, look at the graph. Pretty obvious something is going on here that may not be wanted. But you didn't. It's Friday night, 9 p.m. You're having a lovely dinner with your family. You have really good pizza, nice atmosphere. Your phone rings. A colleague sends you a screenshot. If you see something like this, it's too late. Your data is encrypted and you have a huge crisis at hand now. All the file types have changed. There's a recover.txt file telling you what happened. This txt file is the so-called ransom note. That's where the attackers say, hey, this happened. We encrypted all the files with strong algorithm. Do not reset or shut down. And here's some information on how to contact us. This information is usually via email, Talks chat, or nowadays even as an interactive web page. Now, if you open the web page, you're greeted with this. A 14 million US dollar ransom. But don't worry, it's only 9 million US dollars if you pay within 7 days. You get a discount. There's even instructions on how to get the cryptocurrency. There's a live chat for support and negotiations. And there's a trial decryptor so that they can prove that they can decrypt your data. But it's not always as professional as that. Sometimes the first level agent that you speak to on this chat doesn't even know who you are, who he's talking to, and he asks you to please introduce yourself, because they don't even know who they're talking to. Why should you communicate? This is the point where the communication or negotiation starts. There's many reasons why you should negotiate. First of all, it is to get some valuable information. You need to know what data they have stolen and how critical that data is. And also it's a good point to start talking to them to buy you some time and goodwill for recovery or whatever happens when you rebuild your infrastructure. First thing after that is you usually ask for a proof for your data. So you want the attackers to tell you, this is the data we have. And you usually get it. They provide a file list listing all the data that they have stolen from you. But sometimes it's different. Yet we cannot provide the person who has access to data does not contact for the reasons unknown to us. But it already was, I think will appear in the nearest future. This is the first level guy. Can you send files for test interpretation? Did you estimate mashtaba? How to you? This became a running gag in our office. Did you estimate mashtaba? Anybody here knows what mashtaba means? Okay. Took us a while to figure out. It's Bulgarian for scale or impact. Let's look at this post from VX Underground. Why is stuff like that happening? They asked the Lockbit group why there are less victim postings on their blog recently. And they responded, we're currently on their holiday enjoying the nice summer weather. Or something like that. And in other words, it's a real quote from a recent case. Make a decision faster, our team is going on vacation. Another example from the negotiation where you can really see the first level and the back-end guys working together. We asked for a ransom demand and he just asked his back-end, bro, how to decrypt and how much? The backend guy responded with a rather extensive message like, yeah, we're sorry to attack your company. We want to solve this case. Please buy $500,000 of Ethereum. And here's some test passwords to show that we have actually the ability to decrypt you. What do you think the first level guy is now doing? He's waiting for 2 days to forward it and just forwards it with one comment, I have reply. Very professional customer service. Another negotiation example, you can't pay that much amount of money and you ask for, you give them a counter offer of a little less. But the attackers did not like that. Our analytical department analyzed your financial documents and appointed the amount of money you're able to pay without any problem. And this is kind of the scariest part right here. They know exactly how much money they can ask from me. They know exactly where the pain tolerance is for what you can afford. Sometimes it's also like this. Your order is very little business. We don't care much. And here again, you see the wording choice. It's not an attack, it's an order. You ordered surprise pen test, remember? But sometimes there's also easy cases where they just want 0.16 Bitcoin, so 4,000 euro. This is usually where your incident responder tells you, yeah, just go pay that guy, get the decryptor. It's much cheaper than anything we can do. But the case is not over here. Remember, they hacked you. Even if you pay this ransom and you restore all your files, you still have to find the initial hole and fix it, because otherwise someone else will come in and encrypt you again for maybe a bit more than that. What also do you get when you pay? You get a really extensive penetration report of what happened. Yeah, we sent you an email with an exploit. It was opened by a user, Citrix, username, password, CVE, local administrator, Bloodhound, and found login data for domain admins. They found passwords for different resources like backups, Mimicards, RDP, and a KeyPass, and they got access to your antivirus server. And there's even some recommendations on what to fix to go forward. Download daily updates, install Kaspersky antivirus, and change all the important passwords once a month. It's pretty good, right? Pretty good penetration test. You even get a list of servers that were infected. So they know your infrastructure better than yourself. And the last thing they provide is a proof of deletion. They will use sdelete and send you 1 or 2 days later the deletion logs. What do you think of it? Do you believe it? Would you go to your customers and guarantee them that none of their data will be ever leaked from this? Can you trust the criminals? It's a hard decision to make. At this point, the case is closed for the ransomware gang. They've got their money, they deleted the data, nothing more to do. The only thing is for you to rebuild your infrastructure, your business, and the trust of your customers and your business partners. So let's next look at some points on what we can do to avoid this from happening. We have two sides. We have preventive measures and reactive measures. Of course, you should patch all your systems. Even though I showed you before an example where patching would not have helped, patching is still a really important thing. You should patch regularly, patch quick, patch your systems, close the holes. Harden your infrastructure. I guess everybody knows at least one of those sys benchmarks, Microsoft baseline securities, or the Active Directory tiered administration model. Implement it. Make it as hard as possible for the attackers to laterally move in your infrastructure or even get into your infrastructure. Especially for Active Directory, I want to point out a really good tool. And if you only take one thing away from today, I want it to be this. Ping Castle is a auditing tool for Active Directory. It will give you, within 1 or 2 minutes, a really extensive report about the security configurations in your Active Directory. There's lots of recommendations in there that will help you make your domain more secure. Another thing is be prepared for the emergency. Nowadays, it's not about if a cyber attack will happen, but rather when will it happen. So plan accordingly. What can you do if all your systems are down? How do you reach your employees, or at least your IT employees? Make a plan, make it offline available, important, because then everything is down if you pulled all the cables. Nothing more you can do. Backups. This is kind of a really complicated topic in a ransomware scenario. I want you to critically think about if your backup is secure from ransomware. Can someone in your network with domain admin privileges delete your backup? Because attackers will have domain admin privileges at some point. If any part of your backup infrastructure is connected to your Active Directory, it's lost in a ransomware attack and will help you nothing. But also, backup will not save you. Backup will help you restore the files, but what state of backup can you restore? You want to restore yesterday's backup? Remember, they're already in your infrastructure for a week or months even. So when you restore yesterday's backups, you will also restore the access for the ransomware guys. That's why I always say, you need a lot of visibility into your network. Visibility will help you on both sides. Preventative, to see the lateral movement, to see the initial compromise. But also it will help you to figure out when things have gone south, when it all started, when they came in, what's the last clean state of your infrastructure. I hope I gave you a good overview on how the current situation is, and you can got thinking about some strategies on how to avoid this. If you have any more questions, feel free to contact me, or maybe find me later in the afternoon or right now. Thank you very much.
Sebastian, thank you very much for the very interesting and very entertaining talk. Questions from the audience? Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Thank you for the great talk. It was really interesting. My question is, have you seen cases where a ransomware attack, big, noisy kind of attack was used as a cover to put something more stealthy by an advanced attacker? Thank you.
Not yet. Those are usually different groups. So you were rather saying something like industrial espionage, I guess, something more stealthy. No, because the ransomware gangs just want their money. It's a very interesting point, but we haven't seen something like that.
Okay. There's one more.
Two quick questions in one, but it's a short one. In terms of threat actors, ransomware has a service. Has it, let's say, helped to the democratization of cybercrime in the sense that it is more easy now than, let's say, 5 years ago?
Yes, definitely. It's basically in the darknet, you can buy initial access. You can buy VPNs or someone who already has a foothold in a network, and then you just need to buy the ransomware and deploy it. Yes, it really made it more easy.
And the second question, you already spoiled it about a quick comment about access brokers.
Yeah, exactly. The access brokers. Yeah.
Short one.
First, thank you for a great talk. Quick question. You mentioned the proof of deletion. What I didn't quite get, is that something that you have to pay extra, or is it usually included?
No, it's included.
Because you mentioned the question whether you would trust that, but if it's included, obviously you don't trust it, but it's not really a choice. You're going to get it, and that's all you can do at that point, right?
Exactly. Okay. They stole your data, they have it lying around at some server, and you just get I mean, the tool is that they offered is like sdelete from sysinternal suite, and you just get a log file that says this has been deleted, but it's not your infrastructure.
This is more like maybe a legal question than technical, but in some countries where there are laws that forbid companies from sending money to those cyber terrorists. So do you have experience in which what companies can do or would do in such situations where the only option is backup? Maybe their backup is already rigged. So is there anything that they can do?
I'm not a lawyer. But yes, you're absolutely right. This falls under the financing of criminal organizations, and there are sanctions in the US and so on and so on. And unfortunately, I don't have any recommendations for that. It's a very complex topic. Yes. If you don't have an option out, you have to pay, and hopefully nobody sees you pay. Yeah. Hide it well.
Okay, I think we have time for 2 more questions.
Yes, thank you. How many of those attacks can you stop in their tracks before damage happens? You've talked about preventative measures.
That depends on the individual measures in your infrastructure. We're an incident response provider. When we get called, everything is already happened. Sometimes, like we had one case recently where we were really quick. It was on the evening when it started, and the admin noticed, oh, something is going on. We really saw that we interrupted the attackers, because usually they were like using sophisticated tools like group policies to roll out their encryptor. But in that case, they noticed that something is going on because some servers were going down. And they just like RDP'd into everything they could find and manually started the encryption. So sometimes you can be lucky and stop it really early and like just have a small percentage of your data encrypted, but it all comes down to visibility. And I see in most cases that the companies don't have the visibility to detect the lateral movement and everything early.
Okay, last question.
Thank you for the presentation. Based on your experience and what you've shown in the beginning, would you say it's always good to get in contact with the ransomware gang and try to negotiate on the terms? Or would you say if the company's set up pretty good in regards to their backups and everything and the security of their backups, you wouldn't even go into negotiation?
It's always good to signal goodwill and to buy some time before they really publish it. If you don't get into contact, they will contact you in other means like DDoS attacks or email or just putting your name on some kind of block with a ticking time clock. Yes, definitely.
Okay, thanks again. Round of applause again for Sebastian. Great talk.